Well, I and I is one, and I is two, but I and I means three when you're fucking with the Fuji. I move like the Phantom, just talking like the B-side, rise in the east, and if you fuck with me, you'll be this.
Okay, Sister Maat and Maakheru. Did I say that right?
Yes, that's fine.
Oh, good. All right, cool. Okay, so, sis, Miss Pack, the aunt, please tell her about how you showed me the promo to the book.
Oh yeah, what's in your womb? There's this. You have a YouTube video, and I fell out. I was trying to find out about the book, and it was talking about Craig and them. I was like, oh, this is so hot. I love this. You have like a second book that you're about to work on. Well, first, before I even ask you about that, could you tell us about yourself, and your background? And could you tell us about your spiritual journey, if you learned things from your family, if your family practiced, and what different spiritual paths you came upon before you came to be where you are now?
Wow. Okay, y'all sitting down, y'all got some time? Shoot.
Yeah.
All right, so my background. Well, I'm going to say I started out like most folks. I grew up Christian in I was in a sect of Christianity. It was an offshoot of Seventh-day Adventists.
Okay.
And, so it was called the Word Church of God, and so we grew up kind of separated. We kept all of the Jewish holy days and the Sabbath and all that stuff. So we couldn't do nothing from Friday night to Saturday night. So, I grew up there, strict background. And then, I guess in my early 20s, I started questioning things. I started questioning what I was told, because I wondered why, if everybody was supposed to be Christian, how come most of the world was Muslim or Buddhist? And so wouldn't it just be easier for a so-called God to just, let everybody know, what's supposed to happen? And my awakening, I guess, came years later, after my first divorce. Yes, I've been married 3 times. So I always tell people, if you want to find out what not to do in relationships, I'm your girl, holla. I can give you some great advice. I have a very strong and solid marriage at this, now, and that's because, I was able to not carry those patterns forward, into this relationship. So that is, hence part of the book, What's in Your Womb. That's kind of how I got out of it, But in my first marriage, I got married at 22, in the same church or whatever. We should have never gotten married. We both said it, we were walking down the aisle, and, we didn't say it at the time, but we were like, okay, we're going to get a divorce in a few years. Like, we knew it. And, we actually became very good friends after the divorce. But what started happening for me is this church, when we were going through the divorce process or the separation process, the minister, this white guy, was telling me that he knew what God was trying to say to me. And, God was trying to tell me, don't get a divorce, whatever. And so I'm sitting here, I got a little pissed off with God. I said, listen, I'm sitting here right now. Why can't you tell me what you telling him? I need to verify the information. So if you can talk to this dude, you can talk to me, and, then while you at it, I need you to answer some more questions because, I lived a terrifying childhood of seeing and hearing all kinds of things in different dimensions and stuff like that. And every time, of course, I told my mother, she called the minister over. They trying to exorcise me, I'm telling them, listen, I hear everybody talking at once and when nobody's around. I see stuff moving. I see people sitting next to you that you don't see, and they didn't want to hear that. It's the devil. It's always the devil. Some demons messing with me. And so I'm like, yo, why demons messing with me? Why me? Why you pick me to mess with? You know what I'm saying? Who am I? So, yeah, I got real mad with Jesus, and I told him about himself. And no, I'm not asking you to come back. I don't want you to come back. I want you to tell me what's going on right now. I'm not sitting here praying for you to return and do all this stuff that they tell me to do. I need you to answer some questions for me right now. And, starting with who am I and what am I supposed to be doing? After that conversation, and so I tell my family is always tripping out because I have a great Christian testimonial because when I got mad at Jesus and asked Jesus what I was supposed to do, he told me, and I never stepped foot in church again. So, they love that one. But anyway, the thing is, so I was led, I kind of, after that experience, I was, it almost immediately introduced to, some people are probably very familiar with the, conversations with God and the Celestine prophecy and all of these things. I became a Reiki master. I was at a certain point unable to or unwilling to continue in my career path. I had an MBA. I had decided by the time I was 30, I wanted to make six figures, and I did. And then I was like, okay, so what else? And I got to keep doing this for 30 more years? Are you serious? Well, I ain't doing this. This is crazy. Why would I do this? It's just crazy. So, yeah, I gave up my good job, my good consulting firm. I just could not do it. I called the people and said, listen, if I get on one more plane, I think I'm going to die. So I can't do it. And that was it. So, at that point, I had some money, reserved. I opened up I was in the DC area at the time, and I opened up a holistic center called Urban Energy. And the thing that, I discovered was that I was able to take, esoteric information and kind of bring it down to a down-to-earth perspective. They used to call me the hip-hop Reiki master because of the way I explain. Yeah. The way I used to explain chakras and stuff. And so, and it was funny because my first audience was kind of people like me in the sense, I was in the young black professionals group and the black MBAs or whatever. Those were my first people that I would do my presentations for. And they loved it. They invited me to the Urban League, and I would, speak and do my little thing on chakras and energy and stuff. And so they loved it. So, that's how I kind of got into it. And, from that point, I traced my DNA, found out that my bloodline was Yoruba. So I guess I always knew that I was, in the priesthood some way, somehow. Even when I was Christian, I was, really into it. Like I was preaching about it, literally.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Everything I did kind of led to this priestess. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm supposed to be a Yoruba priestess. And at that time, I was closing the, holistic center in DC and moving out to California. I went and I was able to go and get I found a house over in Lamert Park. They have a temple over there. So I was able to go in there and speak to the Babalao, and, he gave me a reading and, told me I was a Oshun and, or whatever. But the funny thing is I was never able to get back there. every time I would go back there, they would be having something that was, closed or whatever, and I was never able to go back there. And then I lived in the valley, so I went to this restaurant, and I saw this woman, she had all white on. She had these long locks, and she had the silver ankh on the table. And it was her and her husband. I was like, wow, I ain't never seen this before. Like, I mean, I had seen Baba Haru and Queen of Four, and, at an event in New York, but just not a ordinary person just sitting in a restaurant with their ankh on the table. So obviously we sat next to them. And, she's the one, her name is Nuket, and she's the one who gave me the name Maat. Now, at the time, I didn't know what, I'd heard, the name Maat, but I really didn't know what it was and, who Maat was and all of that stuff. So she gave me the name Maat and Maakheru. And so I had to figure out, who that was. And, long story short, it has always been me, and, so, because, the thing that I realize about myself is that I'm usually, able, and I always have been able to just kind of sit in the middle and see both sides. Yeah. And I usually don't choose, I don't choose a side. I'll take this way. I'll put it back that way. So if you tell me something, I can totally get into, oh yeah, I can see what you're saying. But then I'll say, well, you know what the other person or the other side of that situation is this, that, and other. And
okay.
So, so sometimes people get mad at me because they ain't really feeling that.
People find it hard to hear the truth. Now, that's a constant theme I'm realizing is that when it comes to putting yourself in the position as a watcher and as the balance, and not just being balanced, because we can be balanced by nature when we cultivate that nature. But what I notice a lot of times when you are the balance, people who have been practicing imbalance for so long, they don't want anything to do with you. Right, they might think they do until they have to engage with you and hear what their imbalance actually is in a particular situation where it's difficult for them to see that they're wrong. Yeah. Or where they're wrong.
I agree.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, you were saying that your bloodline was Yoruba, but then you end up in the Kemetic path. But I want to let you go ahead and finish telling your story because I was curious about that ancestral piece of having a bloodline there and ends up in the Kemetic path.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I'm glad you brought me back there. So what happened is, I initiated Kemetic, and, became High Priestess. And basically what that means is you get 2 unks. You get one for the first initiation and you get another. Now, when I was initiating, and my temple is the temple of Amun-Ra that's led by Harry Kafra. He was in New York at the time, but I think he's in Atlanta now. And what we used to do, because, the Kemetic people, they use the beads and they chant and stuff like that, right? So we used to do this chant that was on the beads. There are 108 beads on the little, I know there's a formal name for it, but the chanting beads. And we would do it 10 times. So that's 1,080 chants to Amun-Ra. And so that was part of our initiation. We had to do that once a day. So you had to figure out how to get that into your day. So initially from the jump, what started happening with me is I was told, through spirit, to do 5 chants to Amun-Ra and do 5 chants to Amit Ra'et. the female.
Yeah.
I didn't tell them. I just did it. Okay? Because, again, that's that balance.
Right.
They would not allow me to do, all 10 rounds to the male energy. I had to always do the male and female. And what started happening is, I would go into trance and I would be talking to everybody, the ancestors. I find myself on the Ra's boat, and then I wind up on the shore, and then my mother, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother would meet me. Mm-hmm. And then they would take me to whoever I needed to talk to at the time. And then I'd talk to Nesru and then, Orisha and everything. And so what was happening is Orisha was coming in real strong every time I would go into these chants. At a certain point after I initiated, and I think I had my second initiation at that time. I'm sitting here, I'm going in, doing my chant, and I see all of these people in chains, my ancestors, in chains. They in the temple of Amun-Ra, in chains. And they said, you need to do, you need to move us from, this realm to the next realm. And you need to do the Yoruba, Iba to get it done. And so I was like, okay. So at that point, I was back in D.C., and I found a house in D.C., and I did my ancestral Iba through the Yoruba because it is my bloodline. But, then after that, what I realized is that, maybe that's my bloodline through the diaspora, but somewhere, somehow, past lives or whatever, I was Kemetic. So right. I kept the Kemetic priesthood and did what the ancestors wanted, which was the Yoruba process. And so, I completed that. And so, now I'll tell you what happened, and I always, after all of this, I am still, I wrote the book, 2 marriages later, I wrote the book. I had, gained a little following, people who like the book and all of that stuff, who know me from doing seminars and things. But I was still searching for something, because as I was invoking the Neteru, invoking Maat every day, like we even have this mat where you just go through and you invoke all of the Neteru. And if you sit on this thing or stand on it, I mean, that joint is powerful, just bringing up those names. So my question to myself was, okay, again, this is the same thing. I wasn't mad this time. Because the Neteru don't make me mad, you know what I'm saying? But I had some questions. All right. So, Neteru. All right, we went through all this, and I'd be all up in the temples and stuff, and on Ra's boat, and, all this. How come I can't just be that all the time? Why I gotta keep invoking? And it was funny because, they have interesting identities. I'm not going to call them personalities, and I'll get to that in a minute, why I'm not saying personality versus identity. But they have some interesting identities. And, it was kind of like I heard laughter and said, she finally got it. Oh. I'm glad you asked that question. I'm glad you asked that question. You're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're supposed to be this all the time. And so it's already you. It's already right. You. You just have to, figure out how to activate it. So this whole process led me through, and really I'm going to say back to Dr. Jill Pookrum. Mm-hmm. I remember her when I was in D.C., when she was doing 7 circuits of the brain and all of this stuff. And I remember she had some program where she was teaching, you know, like Reiki practitioners or doctors and nurses and stuff, the metaphysics of medicine, basically. Because, you know, of course, you're not going to learn that in medical school. And I wanted to get on her program, you know, at that time. But then, I don't know, something happened, you know, cow jumped over the moon. I don't know what it was. But anyway, I lost track of it. But I had always just kind of watched to see what she was doing and to see, you know, whatever. So that brought me back, that brought me full circle, I would say, to Dr. Jewel Pookrum and the balancing program and the brain balancing program. So I was like, okay, so what's up with this brain balancing? And, you know, what it does is because, okay, I'll just explain it. So what it does is you have two, you know, supposedly you have two hemispheres of the brain. However, in ancient times, no, you use them both at the same time. You didn't use, you know how they say some people are left brain, some people are right brain. No, you're supposed to be hemisync, that they're working at the same time, not one or the other. If you are left brain or right brain or whatever, you're unbalanced. And so what the brain balancing does is, okay, so you have one measurement that is kind of like an IQ, your intelligence, and let's say that's at 300. Okay, your emotional body or your emotional coefficient, that's what they call it, emotional coefficient, is supposed to be 10% of that for you to be balanced, for you to be able to access all 300 points of your intelligence efficiently. You be balanced, you'd have to be at 30. Most people, they're at 22. Okay? So what happens is, okay, and see, a lot of people are going to identify with this when I say it. Right. What happens is you know what you can do. You know, you absolutely know that you don't have to get up to close that door. You can just tell the door to close. You know it. And yet you just can't do it. Okay? So what happens is you can only access 220. You can master, I'm going to say. You can, you know, you can keep going up and accessing more information. But what you can master and be able to accomplish and use is 220 because your emotional coefficient is at 22. So now you got 80 points of frustration. That's what I call it. Yeah. Because you know, and you're like, why am I still here? Why do I keep doing this? And I know, and then what happens is you keep searching. You keep searching. You keep invoking this, invoking that. Let me meditate for more. Let me do this for more because you keep looking for it. I'm here to tell you, when you get your brain balanced, you stop looking. The only thing that you do is activate. It's not, you know, it doesn't happen overnight, but you really stop, you realize, you start getting that confidence that it's all you anyway. It's all you. Right. And it's already here. So technically it's nothing you have to try for. You just gotta activate it. And I know with conscious folks, you know, me and my husband, we always joke around, you know, we had started this club called Analyzers Anonymous. And it's like an AA for conscious folks. Because right. We can analyze some stuff and you can spend all your life, okay, with analyzing. Why you like, oh, well, you know, I'm like this because I'm a Virgo. Oh, and I'm like this, and, you know, that's just a lesson, and, you know, you got to get those lessons. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to get those lessons, but there comes a time when we got to be who we actually decided we was going to be. Oh, and that is our God self. That's God, you know, and that is a divine, you know, we are not a body. You know, we have a body. We're souls. We're gods. And we have bodies. It's the other way around. A body cannot encase something that's multidimensional.
Right.
The soul created the body, you know. So, you know, once, you know, you realize that, then you start, you know, accessing things from a different point of view. Once you get the brain balance, you can see it. Because, see, there's a difference between, and Dr. Jewell talks about this, there's a difference between your brain and your mind. Mm-hmm. The brain is the flesh, you know, it's the body. The mind is access to the soul. And so when you have access to your mind, then, you know, you will, you know, like I said, that level of frustration stops. And you just look to access what is already you. And
right.
It's a fantastic experience, because the other thing that I realized is that I probably had never had a conversation with my body. I thought I was talking to my body. I never heard my body until maybe like a year ago when I started learning about being on natural time. Okay, and so we're on this artificial time now.
Right.
Yes,
I was just about to. Can you go into what you mean by natural time?
Yes. So the woman's body used to be the one that told the time. Why? Because it matches the universe. Yeah. The moon. See, you know, and we, you know. And most people know, we learned this in science class, but we didn't pay no attention to it. The sun does not move, or it moves very slowly. The earth is the one that's moving. There's no sunrise and no sunset. The sun is always where it was. It's the earth. Right. Okay? And the moon goes around the earth 13 times in 28-day periods. Okay, almost exactly 28 days. Yeah. A woman, if you have a cycle, you have 13 cycles in a year. 13 times 28 is 364. Right. So our ancestors, the Olmec, knew this, and the Dogon too, you know. But the Olmec, they say it's Mayan, but it's the Olmec. They put this in place. They knew this, so they would have. Their year was 364 days, and they have one day out of time. Right. The other thing with the Olmec is, let me not get off time. Okay. Well, I do, but it's going to come back full circle. So the other thing is the Olmec, just like the Kemetic, you know, the Kemetic system, you know, they talk about the different bodies, the different levels of you. You got your soul, you got, you know, your body, you know, the Bob, the Ka, the Sha, you know, it was all of these different bodies. And then, what they talked about was 5 bodies. Now, what I learned in the Kemetic system is usually all of that information, unless we're reading it wrong or it has been interpreted incorrectly for us, tells you how to travel through the underworld.
Right.
The Olmec system tells you what to do in this world. So they have 5 bodies too, and they talk about what those 5 bodies are. So you, the soul, is first. Your spirit guide, second. Then you have your planetary partner, which is your body, which is your physical body. That's your planetary partner. And then you have your mental body, your mind, and then you have your emotional body, which is supposed to be the smallest and the least active body that you have. But because we are on this artificial time, the way that we developed in the womb caused the emotional body to be the one that's the most active. It's supposed to come in last. And actually it's called your hidden power, your occult power. Okay, so it's like that extra boost that you use after you've gone through all the rest of the body. Right.
So we've been accessing the most advanced part of ourselves and misusing it, and that's why we're in such a state of disarray.
Well, I don't know if it's the most advanced. It's just out of order. I don't, it's just out of order. And I explain how, my interpretation of how it happened. Okay. So just like I talked about, your physical body is your planetary partner. And this is something that I learned, through, being in the brain balancing program in the, Dr. Jules University. It's called the Jewel University of Immortal Sciences. So, I mean, who has a university like that? But this is a class that's called Law of Time. And so what happened, and then, after taking the class, I just kind of formulated all this and was like, okay, well, I see what happened. All right. So the womb represents it's the planetary partner of the universe. We all know that. We say, heaven is between the black woman's thighs, whatever. So it's the physical representation of the universe. It's the partner. It is the planetary partner of the universe. It already knows it's on 13-month, 28-day cycle. It knew that. That's because that's when they first started telling time. They told it by the women.
Right.
Mm-hmm. At some point, at least we know 2016 years ago or more, probably more than that, of course, we accepted Greg and them calendar, and let them tell us what time it is. And so once we started letting them tell us what time it is, so then what happens with the body, you're in a womb now that decided that it is not on a 13, the brain says, no, womb, I know you are on a 13-month, 28-day cycle, but nah, Greg and them say it's 12 months. So, yeah, that's what it's going to be. So as you're developing in this womb, the DNA that's supposed to be turned on, and I call it the God genes, it becomes inactive. It cannot complete the process in the proper way because the brain won't let it. And then everything from the brain, you have a set of nerves that go all the way down the spine and they curve around in the back, and they literally, the womb sits right on that nervous tract. And I know if Dr. Jewel's on, she knows the name. I don't remember the name, but it sits right there, all the nerve in it. So everything that you think goes into that womb. That's scientifically, that's how it happens. So the womb is trying to develop. So the body is like, what does this woman here? Are you serious? So, all right, fine. What happens is now the body's, the way they're supposed to activate, they're not activating in the right order. The emotional body comes up and says, oh, okay, shoot, all right, I need to do something about this. Let me create some artificial, since we on artificial time, everybody want to be artificial in here. We're going to turn off this DNA and we're going to create some artificial structure in order to help this person cope, because they don't even know. They turning off the universe. They going to be crazy. 30 days here, 31 days here, 1 month and 28 days. They crazy. Anyway, whatever. This is my job as the emotional body. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to create some structures. Artificial software. Personality is number one. Okay, because it helps to make that adjustment. They used to call women hysterical because of how the womb sits in the body. They couldn't figure out how it just, it kind of floats there and it's connected by these just little, it's unlike any other organ in the body. And that's why they used to take the womb out, because they say the woman is hysterical. She's probably hysterical because the universe is right there.
Right.
And it's the partner, and everybody was given this and we don't know what to do with it. And we let people touch it. We let people take it out, put it on the table, cut a baby out of it and put it back in. And I could say that. I know people might get offended. I can say it because I've done it. I've done it twice. I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, but I did it. And, you know, now I realize, you know, I'm like, yeah, my womb got an attitude. My womb is like, what the, you know what? Is you crazy?
Speaking of homework, can you tell us what FLE is? And then give us a little taste of clearing and making the womb sacred and the different ways to use the womb. Can you tell us some of those things?
So, FLE is it's just a term I came up with. It's called funky little energy. And it's really subtle energy that's always there. You know, like when you walk in a room and you could tell that people have been arguing, you feel it.
Yeah.
What is that? You know what I'm saying? Or you could tell when somebody's been talking about you, you know, you feel it. You know, when somebody like you, you're like, oh, does he like me? You know, or whatever. But guys, this is all this funky little energy. It's just the vibrations that are there. And, you know, I always look to make things. I got my 2-year-old here. I make it interesting. Okay.
I thought that was Risha's child.
No, that would be mine. I put her in, you know, I thought Elmo or somebody would keep her for a while, but she's here. So, but yeah, so that's what it is. Now, you know, I want to make sure though that I mention just circle back, and I'll come back to the womb. I was talking about the natural time and being off time. And what happens is, you know, like I told people, you know, when I told people, I said, we got the first GMO. We got a GMO womb. We got a genetically modified womb. Because we create beings that do not have everything in alignment because we're not in alignment. Now, can we come into alignment? Absolutely. Because our bodies are fantastic. You know, all of our bodies, all the different bodies, they're fantastic. As soon as we decide we want to activate, they activate. And, you know, it's no problem. So it's not a thing that we gotta, again, like go to Analyzers Anonymous and analyze, you know, that was deep, yo. You know, let me tell you this. So, you know, give some weed and be like, oh yeah, you know, sister was dropping it. And you know what? You know, when she was saying it, I saw this star come up. And, you know, no, I'm just joking. But, so, you know, we don't have to analyze it. We just need to be it, you know, because this is the thing, you know, one thing, and I'm going to bring out the reason, you know, we're talking about this is because on November 18th through the 20th, we are having a Soul Psychic Fair. Yeah. And our feature at the Soul Psychic Fair will be Dr. Jewel and Baba Wanik Shabazz, and he is a natural time scholar. So he will really, you know, explain and break this down, and he has a very unique way of explaining how this happened and how we can get back into alignment. Dr. Jewel talks about us all being on this death walk. We all believe we got to die. The body is immortal. It don't die. If we think that we have to die, this is the question that they put on the table. I think this is Baba Wanik who posed this question. What happens to squirrels and birds? And like now we've seen we're not talking about roadkill. Mm-hmm. How come we don't see carcasses when we go on hikes in the woods? Like, yeah, you know, because the first answer would be, oh, well, they just go into the earth. Well, it takes a while for the earth to take a body back.
Yeah.
How come we don't see dead animals? Just, you know, they get old, they age, and they die. They fall out the trees, and it's a lot of them. So shouldn't we see carcasses all over the place dying? Where do they go to die?
Oh my God, I never thought about that.
Yeah. Me neither. So they know something about their bodies that we don't know about ours.
Right.
Right.
It's immortal. If you decide you're going to leave the realm, it goes with you. It is not, you do not have to voluntarily give up your life. You do not have to voluntarily age. You do not, all of these things. And so Dr. Jewel, of course, you know, will break that down, you know, this whole immortality thing and, you know, the belief that everything dies. Not really. Don't have to. You know, menopause is a disease. You don't got to go through menopause. You also don't have to have a cycle. You also don't have to. Reproduction is a function. It is not the function of the womb. It is one thing. Again, this is something that I heard Dr. Jewel say, and I remember it because I've been to Kemet, and I've seen the walls where they put everything on the wall that they draw on the wall. You know, they put everything on walls. And guess what you didn't see? No tampons, no napkins. Now, it's not to say that they didn't have cycles, but they definitely didn't have them the way we have them. And they were able to control those cycles to use them for when they were in the mode of reproduction. And so when you're not in reproduction, you can use those eggs or those ovums to do other things. Those are some very powerful things. These things are blacker than black. So right there, you already know they're very potent. Why do we have a million eggs if we're not going to have that many children? They're just not there just to, and then we just go into menopause and they get hardened and we don't use them anymore? No, There's a reason for them. And so if you have a liver that's deteriorating, and you can create a body within your body with a perfectly brand new shiny liver and everything else, you can use those same stem cells to give yourself a liver. As a matter of fact, when you're pregnant, that actually happens. You can, look it up, but in the medical journals, they talk about when you're pregnant and if the mother has some deficiency somewhere, the baby creates more stem cells to go and heal whatever organ is deficient in the mother.
Oh, man.
But it can do it as you're like, yo, I got 1 million eggs. Can I use one of these eggs? Can you go ahead and, I'm missing a couple of teeth in the back, Can I use some of my eggs to go ahead and create some new cartilage and some teeth for the back? Really? I mean, seriously, like, why are you there?
Wow.
And if I know that I can do it and I have access to it, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
They've been using those eggs for so many, all that stem cell research, they've been using those eggs for so many things, taking them out of us and using them. It didn't occur to me but to use them in ourselves.
Yeah, use them yourself. Shoot. No, why? It's a good question. Why you got millions of them? There's nothing in the body, including the appendix, that is not for a purpose. Now, I don't know what the purpose of the appendix is, but I'm just saying it's there for a reason.
Right.
It's something, so we need to use it. So if you got 1 million eggs and you had 2 children, well, all right, you got what, 999, whatever that number is, eggs that you can use to do a bunch of things. Create what you want. And none of them, you don't have to bleed to do it.
Yeah. And that is phenomenal because I know a lot. This is my first time really hearing that information in that way. And these are all questions that you hold in the back of your mind when you hear, you're born with all the eggs you'll ever have, and after a certain age you can't use them anymore, and then they just die. And so you just kind of you're left kind of confused, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll just accept that as truth. These people who are telling us this, they've only been on this planet practicing medicine for the past maybe 200 years, and and just coming into an advanced understanding of medicine in the last maybe 20, 30 years. So, you know what I mean? It's like, it's been difficult to just take their word for everything, especially when it comes to the black woman's, the melanated woman's body.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, all that melanin, we are not using it. We are not using it. I mean, I'm telling you, as a black woman, we have some fantastic things that we can do. We haven't even touched on it. Right. And we spending our time, you know, trying to be this and trying to be that or whatever when we are already the mothers of the universe. And I know we walk, you know, we say that and we dress up like it, you know what I'm saying? We put on all our fancy clothes and, you know, oh, wow, you know, sister, you know, you look like it. But you can't, you know, I can't curse on the radio, but you can't do, you know, SHIT with it. You know, you can't do that. What can you do?
Mama, this is a free zone. You can say whatever the fuck you like. Just know that.
Okay. I'm just saying. What good is it? And I'm talking, you know, I talk to myself like that. You know, I just sit there and, you know, we're going back to that conversation with Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Well, why can't I do shit? You know what I'm saying? I got 2 aunts. I'm a high priestess. You know what I'm saying? Shouldn't I be able to just simply say and say what I want and let it be? You know, if we go back Christian, you know, God said, let there be light, and there was light. That's it. It wasn't no analyzing about, oh, well, you know, how it's going to be, how the light going to look. Oh, you know, what? No. You knew that it was going to be light. Say, excuse me, be light, and that's it. And walk away. Drop the mic, walk away.
Right.
And all you know is there's going to be some light. That's it.
And that's what
this conversation is really. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say what Dr. Jewel is going to be discussing at this conference coming up next weekend, correct?
Yeah, she's going to be talking about immortality and how to, you know, be in, you know, yes. So I'm going to say yes. You know, she is going to talk about, you know, the things that you need to do to claim your immortality and to claim your future, because right now we're distracted. Mm-hmm. All these gods, all these black gods and goddesses, and I use the term God, and I say it this way, and because we haven't yet given the term goddess its full force. When you think of God, you think of all being, all knowing, all powerful, you know, the universe or whatever. That's, you know, that's the programming that we had. When you say goddess, you think of a lower form of God. You know, you think of a mermaid or something. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dissing it. I'm not dissing it. Because if you break down the word goddess, and my Baba Wanik, who's going to be at the conference as well during the law of time, he broke down the word. It's the essence of God.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, in the Bible, even when they say, hey, this, what did it say? This God, you know, I don't remember all this. the Spirit of God moved across the waters. The essence, there is no God without the essence. That is the whole thing. You know, but we haven't programmed our thinking yet to think of goddess in that term. We think of God in that term. And so I use that to you know, just I'm working to move the personality out of the way. But the personality needs to hear, you know, those things. So I say that to the personality, knowing that yes, we are the essence. We are, I mean, you can't get no more God than a goddess, you know. So, but I use that term because that's the one that has, at least in our minds, the most potency. And that includes everybody. you know, so yeah, you know, but we're walking around, and then we got all this melanin, and that's crazy. That ain't even on in its full capacity. If we turn that stuff on, are you serious?
Right.
The other thing that I talked to her yesterday, and she talked about, you know, how do you think Trump accomplished what he accomplished? In the sense that he's never been in the military, and he's not even a lawyer. So at least most presidents say you at least have those two things. They're a lawyer, which means they know the law of the land, or they've been in the military. None of that. She said the thing that he has going for him, that he knows how to focus.
Mm.
And so all he had to do was focus, laser clear focus on the electoral votes and getting those votes, and he knew he would win. He focused. And so what we know too from, you know, scientifically, a Caucasian, okay, yeah, they can focus and they can do some things, but our focus with the melanin is, I don't even know how many, at least double that. It's probably, you know, even 10, you know, I forget the actual number, 10 times more powerful than any of that.
You can only imagine so, because there are things that we have built in our time that they still can't explain. There are circumstances that we can survive and have survived and will continue to survive that they have to attempt to manipulate the environment just to still stay on the planet. So there's definitely something of incredible strength and like infinite power to melanin that they understand, but we are just coming into the understanding of. And I think that most of us as a people, even though we know that there's a difference between melanated people and non-melanated people, we don't understand what that really means. In the grand scheme of things, what that means for the level of power that you can attain just by focus, like you said before.
It's like what she said, though. We're distracted. That's the key of it. If you're going to work every day and then you come home and live like they tell you to live, and then you watch the TV, you ain't using your stuff because they got your attention. They got you doing what they say do. So.
Yep, and you know, we don't realize that they do. The ones that know, they know how to control us by controlling our melanin. And I say this to my children, you know, melanin, you know, has a few properties. Melanin is a polymer, which means it sticks to things. 2 is a neurotransmitter. It's a neural receiver. So if you throw in an emotional thing, like you keep looking at, you know, the police, how they, you know, all out attack on black folks. And so we looking at it on Facebook. We could see one a day if we wanted to. All right. So what happens is the emotions come up and we get mad. And they like, yeah, good. They mad because that melanin then starts getting active. It's turning up. But what do we say when we get mad? They always getting away with this. So guess what? We just transmitted through our melanin and that polymer that they always get away with this. Okay? That's how they get the power. It's because we said it. We said they always get away with it. So, yes. So instead of saying they always get away with this, you know, I like the one that I think Black Lives Matter has now. They say not one more.
Yeah.
You know, and we might want to change that around to the positive. You know, straight up, you know, our children are safe. They are happy. They live in their community. All of us, we just safe. We walking around. We free. We happy. And we just say what it is that is going to be. Now, how it happens, not our concern. Unless now, if you one of the warriors, what's gonna happen is then you're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's my cue. You'll get your cue, but you don't have. Again, that goes into the analyzing part. It's the same thing as let there be light, and there's gonna be light. No, let there be. Listen, black people are completely safe. They don't even see us.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't see us. They don't bother us. We're free. We got all the money we want. We can get all the rims we want, you know, whatever. Yeah. But say that instead of saying they always get away. I'm tired of them. I'm sick of them getting away with this. I'm sick of them. They always doing this to us. Nope. Change it around because we keep giving them the power to do it. That's how they get the power.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I get that. Can you speak a little bit more on the womb in terms of, you were saying that we have Craig in the room and Master Johnson in the room and all these other things in the room. How do they get in the room and how do we come out?
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. The baby is. Give me 1 second. 1 second. I'm trying to we recording, Shae. Can you yeah. Thank you. Are you satisfied now? Okay. All right. Yeah, she's excited now. Okay. So the thing, it's through our, okay. So yeah, let me, so we talked a lot about the womb and, how, what it can do. But from the male perspective, all right. So every time a man ejaculates, he is depositing millions of sperm he's depositing millions of sperm into the womb. Now those sperm, again, what do? They are in there, they're moving around, and I don't know what they be doing, but they're in there and there's a lot of activity. Even when they're not in use. So they have a lot of information stored in them. If they are active like that, they have information and electricity. So when they get into, the womb, they start depositing all kinds of information about who they are, who where they came from, and any stored information from generations. And so what happens with who I call Craig and them, these are those relationships that we probably shouldn't have had, little one night stands, even long-term relationships where we were just continuing in this in this relationship that we shouldn't have been in, and letting intercourse happen or whatever. So all that stuff stays in our womb because everything that gets in the womb, we try to create it. So we look, and so at the time of ejaculation, and he's thinking about another woman, you can sense it. And so you don't know why you jealous, but you jealous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You'd be looking at his phone and, all this because you are looking for, because he put that in your womb and you know it, but you just don't know it, directly.
Wow.
And so, what we work to do is now that we know that that's how, we start going around looking, while we looking at his phone and all this stuff, following him to work. It's because of thought at the time of ejaculation. Now, if you know that you have the planetary partner of the universe in you and you are responsible for it, which means you're responsible for what? You're responsible for the universe. Yeah. That's a whole, man, that'll make you close your legs faster than anything.
Yeah.
If you got an answer for that, you'll be like, wait a minute. wait a minute, you just some dude and you know, you can't even call me your girlfriend or whatever. You don't want to have a relationship with me.
Oh my God, that's my life.
Yeah. Are you serious? Oh no, you do not get to access the universe. Oh no. That's not gonna happen. So
that is so crazy because I'm thinking, oh well, I have sexual needs, and these white women, Becky and them said that we supposed to do whatever we want with our bodies, and that's a totally wrong way of thinking about it. Wrong.
Well, I think that, you know, there are levels to it. There are levels to it. You know, I think that if you, okay, so there's a way, you know, and see, you know what, I don't want to say it because I don't want to be irresponsible, because then anybody that's a hoe, they're going to be like, yep, see? I told you it's all right to be a hoe. I'm just going to say that there are levels to it. And sexual energy can be used to generate certain things. And so if you're using it for those purposes, that's fine. And pleasure is fine. But you got to, you know, you need to reach a certain level. If you are out there and you have certain needs, whatever, but then you still have another need to be in a relationship, then you're not really at the point where you can just use sex for, you know, those purposes. And if you're in denial about it, because, you know, there are people who just, you know, give their bodies up or whatever. But, you know, have you claimed really who you are and what your purpose is in the universe? Why is it that women were given the universe?
Right.
So what are we supposed to be doing with it?
Right.
It's not a novelty. You know, there's some serious, you know, there's some stuff that needs to be corrected at this time. You can't do that while you just playing around with your body and letting anybody in it. It's some stuff we need to get serious about correcting things instead of watching this. I mean, we see Trump going into office.
Right.
It don't get no clearer. We've seen the videos of what the Trump supporters, yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
like,
and the women.
I'm sorry. I hate that I keep trying to talk over you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, and the women have the universe right here. And the black woman, please, come on. We need to use these wombs for, you know, their intended purpose. Again, sex is just something that it does. It's not the only thing that it does.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Now, that's what you just said, because there's a spiritual and metaphysical aspect to not being a hoe, right? And I personal experience, right? Coming from like just being very free with myself to being totally closed off and not even interested, not even making a conscious decision to not give myself in that manner. Just, you know what I mean? Like really take the time and say, listen, I'm getting focusing about healing myself and taking back my control and my power. And it's like we have like it's like various ways of looking at promiscuity, because I see some women who are, you know, advocates for promiscuity, and they're unashamed. You know, you can give it away. Just give it away. If you feel like doing it, give it up. It's just sex. It's just, you know, it's just your coochie. Go ahead, share it with everybody. But and you're inviting, right? And this is, and that's what a lot, especially, I don't know why that happens with us, because a lot, and even European, what I notice with white women, the way they teach their daughters, they tell them about sex. They discuss it with them. They tell them how to do things. They tell them, you know, put them on birth control at young ages, and you know, they direct them to promiscuity, but they keep it on the hush. right? They don't say, oh, I'm 12 years old and I'm giving head in the bathroom to the boys. Like it's not something that they're just talking about all the time, but they're way more promiscuous from what I've seen than sisters. But sisters on the other side would just say, you know what I mean? I don't care. I'm just going to give it up to this one and that one. So what is the importance or the magic or the power behind clearing out that energy, and are you even bringing energy in when you having sex with a bunch of different people? Like, how does that work?
Well, let me say this. So a lot of things ran into my mind. One is, remember, we're out of order. Yeah. We're out of natural balance, which is probably why we're so sex crazed. You know, a woman with all of her DNA online in the right way, you know, who is aligned, her womb is totally aligned with the universe. She's aligned. She got all her bodies in order. She's not using her emotional body first. She's using herself, her God self first. Then that, you're not going to be guided. Them hormones that come on when you see Morris Chestnut or somebody, you know what I'm saying, with no shirt on, like, you know what I'm saying? That's not going to rule you, okay? And then if you are at a point where you are ready to, you know, you say, you know, all right, well, listen, I need to chime up. I need to tune this thing up. I need to chime it up because, you know, I need to bring in some sort of energy into this, you know, this realm. And I know exactly what I'm doing. It's ceremonial. You know, that's what some of those temples were for. You know, you look at some of the Asian temples, the Hindu temples, or whatever. You know, they have people on the walls having sex and all of that stuff. And so people who are, you know, this whole society is unbalanced. They think that, oh, well, sure, that just means we need to just get down with everybody. Well, no, there are rules to that. So knowing that the male body has the sperm that has information, even if it is somebody that you're not in a relationship with, that you are using for whatever, I'm not to meet some urge. Realize that urge, you know, where's it coming from? If you can evaluate it and say it's coming from the whole self or whatever, yeah, you know, I'm pretty sure you're not going to come to that conclusion when you're in alignment. That urge, okay? But it's ceremonial. You know, he got to get his mind right so that he can program his sperm with the right information. His sperm don't need to be programmed with, oh my gosh, she got a big ass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Get in this. You know what I'm saying? No. Okay? No. It needs to be programmed with the information that you want to receive into the womb for a specific reason.
Right.
And yeah, y'all can get down and, you know, whatever, but let it be purposeful.
Right.
And so he has to be in that mind state too.
Right.
And because that's what's going into your womb. If you putting stuff in the universe, put the stuff in the universe that matters. Literally matters. Because it's going to manifest, it's going to become matter.
Right.
So yeah, just letting somebody dump on you, in you, it puts more of what we have. We tired of the way for women, all the women, if we are tired of the way that this world looks to us right now, we tired of knuckleheads, we tired of, you know, whatever names we put on this, let's stop bringing them into the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stop bringing in knuckleheads. Don't create no more. But that's, right. You know, and there's plenty of men who are looking for women who have this information. Mm. There are plenty of men. You know, they say, oh no, you know, the brothers ain't really. No, there are plenty of men who would love, and I talk to them all the time, and they're trying to school the sister that they with.
Yeah.
They're trying to school her on this.
I recently started realizing that because I was like, oh, it ain't enough good brothers out here. And then I started hearing the brothers complaining that they weren't finding the sisters. And I guess being a woman, I knew how many sisters there were. I just didn't know how many brothers. We just need a way to bring things together. I wanted to ask you also, like, suppose a man doesn't ejaculate in you and you're just having sex with him. Aren't you still picking up stuff from him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you still picking up. And then there's always, he might not ejaculate, but, you know, the sperm comes out. He's still wet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It still leaks out before it totally disperses. So you still getting it. It's still there. Now, you know, the brothers that practice ejaculation, you know, they, I'm not talking about, yeah, I know, you know, one way, is that, you know, they just don't, ejaculate in you, but, there are men who know how to ejaculate because they don't want to give their life force over.
Okay, yeah.
You know, because they know that at the point you're holding his information literally in your womb, you know what I'm saying? He's attached, whether he knows it or not. You know, he's just going to come. He might say, okay, well, I ain't talking to this sister no more, but he's going to find another one just like you because you got his information, you know. So, you know, that's how that works. But we, you know, the answer is to just get back into natural order. Get your brain balanced, get back on natural order, and let's, as black women, let's just take back the universe for real. Just straight up take back the universe. That's the order of business for us in this time period. That's why we came here. That's why all of us are here at this time asking these questions. Because we need to put the universe back in order. Literally.
Literally.
And, you know, this is not a, you know, an ego thing. If you've been, like I said, you know, I always put myself out there as an example. You know, I'm a high priestess. I done did all this. You know, I done killed some chickens. You know, all of it. Okay?
Okay.
You just, yeah, you don't need to, you know, it is not going to interfere with that in the sense of you're not going to knock down knock a person down because of, you know, that person deciding, you know, let me get my brain down and but just see what happens. If you are who you say you are, it ain't, you know, it's not a challenge to do it. You know, I find when I tell people about brain balancing, it's funny, it's the conscious folks are the hardest ones to convince because they feel like they already been there. They already got it. And you're right in a sense that you know that you have accessed certain things already. Okay? But the level, if you feel frustrated, if you can't if you can't use your body as a GPS to know what's happening, you know, let's just say next door, without hearing it, without seeing it, or whatever, you need to get your brain balanced. Okay?
Right.
If you can't just give a command to your body, I don't care if it's a mosquito bite, and you tell your body, stop, excuse me, I'm immortal. Mosquito bites don't itch me. Are you serious? And it stops. You need to get your brain balanced. You know, if you are a person, if you are an empath, you're a reader or whatever, but you don't have control over yourself at night and you sleeping and all that, you need to get your brain balanced.
Right.
It's as simple as that. So it just adds, it enhances who you already are. You already awesome. It just enhances that awesomeness. And it allows you to access to the stuff that you haven't been able to access, or it calms you down and it puts that emotional body in its proper place as your hidden power. Meaning it comes up last. You should be able to just roll with any and everything, you know, and bring that out when you need, oh shoot, what? They got nanobites? Are you serious? Okay.
This is very powerful because I went to I used to go to a Kemetic temple also, a Saraset society. And we learned about our godhood, our goddessness, and whatever have you. But I never felt like I was getting there. You know, it's like I analyzed it, and I could see all the things that were wrong. And it looked like this insurmountable amount of stuff that I was never, ever going to get anyplace. So it was like on one hand, I was learning that I was God, I was divine. But on the other hand, I was caught in this little box. And it's like, oh, you're never going to make it to such and such a point.
Right, until you die and you see a star.
Yeah. I don't.
Yes.
This is the first time that somebody said do A, B, and C and get there. You know, and I mean, before it was like you can get there, but it's going to be this process that's going to take you a million lifetimes. And, you know, so it's like, oh, well, fuck it then. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. That'll be that. But I have the knowledge that I'm supposed to be better. But this is
they need to come to Analyzers Anonymous. There's too much analyzing. Man, just be God for real. You already God. Screw all that. Nah, that's some bull for real. No, you are already God. You do not have to wait to see a star. You know what I'm saying? If I see a star, I'm gonna be like, oh, are you serious? I gotta do this again? Are you? Oh no, I ain't doing it again. No. Asar, tell me how to be God right now. Now. I'm not bowing down. And, you know, like I said, just like, you know, I've had these conversations. Yeah. And they say, you know what? You're right. Ridikin nuance, ridikin nu ka'unk. You know, that's something that I learned. And that is, that means I give to you life, you give to me life. So I am whatever you think I am. If Asar is just a replacement for Jesus, then that's what he's going to be. But if you ask him, if you use him and ask him, okay, how do I be God right now? How can I be Asar right now?
Right.
He'll tell you, be like, all right, it's about time, shoot. You was gonna go. You was going through them 10 lifetimes before you figured this out, huh? All right, let me tell you something. You got to, you know that he be like, you got some time? Sit down.
Can you tell us about your Reiki practice also? You know how you got the name the hip hop Reiki master, and what about your technique that's like a little different than conventional Reiki? Can you talk about that?
Well, it was just I got that name because of the way I used to explain the chakras and stuff. You know, the way that I had initially heard it explained. You know, it was very sterile. You know, the name, you gotta remember the name of each chakra and the mudra and all that. I was like, man, people ain't gonna get it this way. Let me talk about it a little bit different. So, Reiki is just how I got introduced into the world of energy. But I don't even, at the point I got initiated, I kind of stopped doing Reiki. I let the Asian ancestors, I had a conversation with them, because that's who, you know, Reiki, when you're pulling that energy, you're calling in Dr. Yusui and all that stuff. So, you know, we're thankful for them being the caretakers of the information. But once I started learning Melanin and all that stuff, I was like, you know what? I don't really need to do these Reiki symbols anymore. I don't need to call Dr. Yusui and all these people. I got my own folks. And so I had a conversation with my Reiki people and I told them. So, and they said, all right, I understand. Call us if you need us. You know, I had to move on. And so, you know, what I do now is I just direct people to the sister Nia Ya, who has the Kemetic Reiki.
Yeah.
Because she has it down to a system. And, you know, that's the process to follow. But I don't even do traditional Reiki anymore.
Okay.
You know, I use the Kemetic symbols and things like that, you know.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I have enjoyed this conversation, my love. Are there any closing remarks? Can you tell us when the event is going to be and what people can expect and when they need to register by?
Yes. So it's going to be November 18th through the 20th. You can find out, the website is soulpsychicfair.com, and you can even Google that. It'll come up. So you can go to the website, you can go to the Facebook page, and it should come up. And we're featuring Dr. Jewel Pookrum, who is going to be talking about the science of immortality. So the things that you heard me say, she's just going to if you think it can't get no deeper, nah. I tell you what, you gonna be in for it. And this is not an event. This is not your traditional event where you get together and you hear one of these elders that, speak and you just leave and say, whoa, man, that was deep, whatever. No, this is a call to action to activate who we are. It's time. It's no more of just watching. We need to activate who we are. These elders have been around for a long time saying the same thing over and over again, and they tired of saying it.
Right.
And so when we get somebody like Dr. Jewel, who actually will come out and speak, because, you don't see her, how many times do you see her name on something?
Yeah,
I think last time I saw her, 5-6 years ago, maybe. You research her on YouTube, you don't see any recent things.
No.
So she is focusing on the people who want to focus on being themselves. So, we convinced her to come out, so y'all need to come out and support. So that, and this is, again, like I said, this is to leave. When you leave, your DNA should be changed. I guarantee, listening to this, you probably had some little changes in the DNA. Because if you think differently, if you like, I can't even go back to doing the same thing I did before, that means your DNA changed.
Yeah.
So this is the purpose of this. And then we have Wanique Kimi Tahuti Shabazz. And he's coming. He is a natural time scholar, and he's going to be talking about law of time and getting ourselves back on natural time, because that is a big problem with why we're not online, with who we are and ourselves when we talk about those bodies and how they're out of order. So he's going to be speaking on there. And then we're still pending with Dr. Barnes, Dr. Carol Barnes, who wrote Melanin, Key to Black Greatness. And he doesn't come out either. So, we need to have people registered by Friday. That's tomorrow. So we're looking to really have this be a blowout event. And we don't have the agenda online yet, but just know that those are our 3 presenters, and this is the stuff that they will be speaking on, and their focus is to get us into alignment. So, that's the, that's where we are with it. So that's the Soul Psychic Fair. My website is what'sinyourwomb.com, and that's what's with the Z, WHATZ, inyourwomb.com. I have a Facebook page. I got Twitter. I'm now on Instagram. I also have some videos on YouTube if you want to hear a little more. That's all. So the balancing, if you're interested in the balancing program, you can go to drjewelsbalancingprogram.com. You can find those links, though, at the Soul Psychic Fair website, as well as the What's in Your Womb website. Those links are available there as well.
Yes, ma'am. One last thing I do want to say is you run an amazing vegan restaurant right here in North Carolina that I have not had the pleasure to attend yet, but me and my husband are definitely coming soon. And my mother rants and raves about your food, so I can't wait to come out.
Yes, Vegan Flavor Cafe. Yep, we're in 4125 Durham, Chapel Hill Boulevard.
Yes,
ma'am. Cool.
Yeah.
How about What's Your Womb Thinking? Has that book dropped yet?
It has not dropped yet. Dr. Jewel is editing for me. She's going to do the foreword, and she has a little, her reflections are going to be in the book. So, man, let me tell you, I be thinking I'm deep and everything. I be like, that's true, man. Let me tell you, when you get this book, you're going to be like, man, just send it right to print, And she's like, well, I'm like, man, are you serious?
Right.
Yeah.
So honest. That is so honest. The two of y'all together, it's going to be powerful. It's going to it has blown my mind because it's an action oriented. Because like you said, the conscious community, we can talk and analyze and talk. And this is the most action oriented spirituality. Or Sarah said is nice, but this is really action oriented and it's powerful. You know what I mean? It's going to get us there. We ain't just going to think about it. It's going to get us there. The things you have told us, the jewels you've dropped. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
You're welcome.
And for this interview. Well, you got a new fan for real.
That's what's up. That's right. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Peace, y'all. Hotep.